Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from TNJ. And make sure you hit that like button because we are now into this basically preseason, season preview slash undrafted free agent signing reveal. And we got a lot of stuff to get into this video. We're going to first start out by the sliders here. And one thing last year is that I did see a couple of things that I didn't like. And mainly, it was weird because Aaron Rodgers, we played him the first time. He didn't look like Aaron Rodgers. The second time, in the first half, he didn't look like Aaron Rodgers. Second half, he kind of looked better. But there are just a lot of quarterbacks that don't play like their counterpart as far as QB accuracy. A lot of guys are throwing interceptions and making mistakes that their normal, everyday, real-life counterpart wouldn't do. So I'm deciding to go with these sliders. QB accuracy at 55, pass blocking at 45 because the computer pass blocking is way overpowering. Sometimes these guys sit in the pocket with no pressure. That's not realistic at all. Wide receiver catching at 45 allows a wide variety for both user and computer catches, and it forces you to make kind of smart throws and not throwing the ball in traffic all the time and just banking on your guy holding on to the ball. So I have that at 45 for both. Run blocking for CPU at 75. That kind of balances the running game for the computer. Fumbles at 50. Pass defense reaction time, I put that up for the CPU mainly because I wanted it to be more challenging. I found myself, like I said, Alex Smith was throwing for more yardage than Aaron Rodgers, than Matt Ryan. I mean, that's just not realistic. That won't happen. It could happen, once in a while, but it just really doesn't happen every game, and I found myself doing that consistently. Interceptions at 40 for CPU. I actually lowered it to 30 for the user because I was seeing too many interceptions. Then pass coverage for the user, I lowered that to 10, mainly because I was coming up with way too many interceptions, and I didn't see a lot of separation on routes sometimes. We were like glue, and so is the CPU. The CPU is like glue sometimes, but I do want to make it tough on myself. And then tackling at 60 for CPU, 45 at tackling for the user. It mainly gives you a wider variety of tackles and forces you to have more gang tackles than not. So before hopping into the undrafted free agent signings, I have a couple of moves that involve some of our players last season. So Orlando Scandrick, 75 overall, he regressed quite a bit, but you look at his skills, 72 man and 73 zone, I think that's just not going to get it done. He is 32 years old, 11 years in the league. I just do not think he fits in with what we're trying to do at 32 years old. We are going to release him, and we are going to take the penalty of $500,000. That's not too bad. So I'm going to release Orlando Scandrick. He just doesn't fit anymore. Also sitting in free agency, we did see Trey Quinn. I thought he got re-signed by another team, and I thought I made a mistake, but we did bring him back. So right now, he's penciled in at number 4 on the depth chart. So it's good to see him back. I want to see what I can build with him. And like I said, it's the youth movement. He's 23 years old. I think he has good skills. He has the kind of Josh Doxson mode, so we'll see how he develops. Now, you guys said that I should move Tyshon Woodley, our first-round pick, over to safety, and I think that's what I'm going to do because he has good zone coverage, but his man is going to take so long to get up, and I'm going to need to play a little man. He's 21 years old with normal development, so he's going to need to get in at some point, and I just don't see him getting in at the cornerback position. So we're going to move him to free safety and see what he goes to. We're just going to stick with it. Whatever it is, we're going to stick with it. So he's at 69 overall. He goes down 1 overall point. Also, you guys said that I should probably move Denzel Griffin to receiver, but just to show you what his overall is at receiver, it's 47. I mean, there's no way I can do that. So I'm going to move him back to cornerback. I just wanted to show you guys what it would look like with him at receiver, and now he's back at cornerback. So you guys had mentioned that during last season we were playing with Alex Smith and you guys didn't like him that much, and I mean, granted, it was his first year with the Redskins and he's just getting acclimated with the offense. He's a different type of quarterback. He's a short accuracy type of guy. But, we're going to decide to go after a quarterback here. And one team I'm looking at that has kind of a long list of quarterbacks, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Ben Roethlisberger has been floating around the idea of retirement. He hasn't done so yet, But, you know, they went out and drafted Mason Rudolph last year, probably to be the backup to him. And remember, they had Landry Jones as a backup. He never got in, but he was okay when he started. I think he won a couple of games. But then in this offseason, they went out and signed Trevor Siemian. So it's interesting that they would get him, because I think it just kind of disrespects their draft pick 2 years ago, the quarterback out of Tennessee, Joshua Dobbs. And he's an interesting guy. I mean, if you look at his ratings here, he's 24 years old. He's got plenty of time to develop, but he's not bad. I mean, if you look at it, 91 throw power, 72 deep, 76 medium, 80 short. And I think the one thing that has to get up is his awareness. I think awareness really affects your accuracy and where you place balls. You know how you can lead receivers, throw it down, throw it up. I think that's awareness, and that helps out with the rest of the accuracy ratings. And I do like that he has play action at 79, because I do like to run a lot of play action. You know, one thing I'm surprised at, that his break sack is at 70, but his speed's at 84. He can move the ball quite a bit with his legs. And I kind of like this as a development project. He is the 59th actually ranked quarterback in the league, and I think that the Steelers would be willing to deal him. So they do end up being like incredibly stingy as far as trying to orchestrate this trade. So we do end up trading a 5th round this season, after this season 2020, after the next season as well, 5th round pick, and then Holsey, the cornerback, for Joshua Dobbs. And Holsey isn't going to touch the field anyway, so I'm like, why not? We can just let him go. So now that we do have our quarterback of the future, before getting into the undrafted free agents, I just want to show you guys just how good this draft class as far as undrafted free agents was. And remember, I did not change any of these guys' ratings. These are guys that I just signed out of free agency, and I just pretty much changed their measurables, and I changed their names. So you guys are in this. I want to make you guys a part of this franchise, and I just want to show you, how good these guys are in free agency as rookies. You see there's a couple of undrafted punters that are 70 overall. That's pretty good. Right outside linebacker here is 69 overall, Quay Gooden. Looks like he's pretty good. He's 67 speed. Let's just see what he does well here. He has pretty good awareness for a rookie. 69 is pretty good. But I'm just going down the line here and just showing you, the caliber of guys that are in free agency right now that are practice squad eligible. So they are young guys. There are some older guys in free agency still. And Coney Ealy is a top free agent. You can see Mike Wallace is there. McKissick is there. Cliff Averill is there. I mean, there are plenty of good free agents there still on the market. Tavon Austin is there right here. 94 speed still at 29 years old. Ted Ginn is there. I mean, there's a ton of good free agents. So if we end up needing a free agent, we could probably go after some of these guys and hopefully, add some veteran leadership to our squad. So here in preseason, I am going to carry 5 quarterbacks, and we're only going to carry 3 on the active roster. And the reason why is because I do have Joshua Dobbs now. I do want to keep him as probably the backup. I want to develop him into maybe the starter down the road, like I said. So first off, we're going with Ricardo Ribkowski out of Montana. One thing that, I want you guys to avoid in these custom recruits or these undrafted free agents is that the stories of tearing an ACL and then coming back from injury, those get very, very repetitive. So come up with something more unique. It's not a bad story to have an injury and come back from it, but not every guy can have that story. And this guy was just a solid guy from Montana, strong arm, and I like what I saw from him. He can throw the ball hard, but he's got some accuracy issues. So I want to see if that maybe I can develop him, if I can get him on my practice squad. I think he's a practice squad player, and maybe he can develop into something. Now let's talk about 2 guys who are undrafted gems. First, we're going to go with Mike Perkins. Remember, I did not change these ratings. These are just undrafted guys that I just stumbled upon, and this guy is a gem. Mike Perkins, he models his game after Wes Welker out of Youngstown State, and actually out of Arizona State, sorry. 23 years old. He does have quick development, and that is key because this is a slot guy. He's 5'9", 170, 23 years old. I think he's going to do really well in the slot. He has 88 spectacular catch. So So I'm interested to see how that's going to work in the slot. But at 85 speed, he's not a burner by any measurable, but he's good. I think he has a really, really good shot at making the active roster, and I'm pretty sure he might be a lock. So let's talk about the guy that I'm most excited about, Connor Steffens. So if you look at his ratings, he is a cornerback and he is solid. 83 catching. This guy can, I mean, he's going to be a ball hawk. I swear he's going to be one because he's just a rookie, 79 man and 79 zone. That's already better than Orlando Scandrick was. And when I saw this guy, I was like, all right, that kind of gives me the, assurance that I can cut Orlando Scandrick and be all right. Because, I mean, this guy is really, really good. 89 jumping as well, so he's going to not allow those big plays over the top when guys just snag over him. But look at this. This is the best thing. He's quick development. So 2 quick development rookies, undrafted. This one's on a Youngstown State, and he's good, man. I mean, he's going to be really good, 71 overall. He's definitely going to get in this year. I don't know how it's going to work if he ends up taking somebody's job, but, I mean, he is good. So I just got done talking about the 2 guys who I think are going to make the squad, at least have the best chance of making the squad. But let's talk about the guys who are just undrafted guys that they might make the squad, but we'll have to see how they do in preseason. Starting with Mario Marble Jr., I think this is a practice squad player. He has 83 strength, and that's kind of what drew me to him with 78 block shedding. It reminds me of Tim Settle, the impact that Tim Settle was having in the first couple games of last season. Then he got hurt, and he kind of didn't recover. He didn't get back in the game at all, and it made a big difference. So I like that he has 71 power moves. He's a younger guy, 22 years old, but I think I can develop him. So after moving Tyshawn Woodley to safety, another safety I did sign one undrafted, Fender Bender. Yeah, that's right. Fender Bender is his name. 88 speed. I liked his backstory a little bit. Go and check it out. 70 zone coverage. He's got to work on his tackling, though. So I don't know if he's going to end up being a safety. He might turn into a corner because of his tackling skills, but we'll see. He's 21 years old, so he's got some time to develop, and he's a rookie out of Ohio. Let's talk about the guy who's probably got the biggest battle to make this squad. 60 overall, Jay Grimes. He's only 5'7", 195, rookie out of UCF. But, you know, I think he's all right. He's got a decent juke move. He's got 84 speed. That's definitely something that we'll have to work on. So maybe if we do get him on the practice squad, we can develop him a little bit. But he's got a while to go to even remotely be good enough to touch this squad. So we'll see how it goes for him. So you know it wouldn't be right unless I brought in a guy from our Marquette University dynasty, some of our dynasties from NCAA, and this time we brought in Jamel Jones. And remember him, he was I liked him as a freshman for sure when I recruited him at Marquette, and he came in doing pretty good. And I like what I see from him. I mean, he's got 73 man, 66 zone. He's got to work on some things, but he's got the speed at least to be able to keep up with guys, but he's got good size at 6'2", 220. So we'll see how he does. I mean, he's not too bad, but like I said, a guy from our Marquette dynasty, you got to bring him in, see what he's got. Now, out of all these middle guys, I think that Marcus Martinez has the biggest shot to make our roster because he's just solid all across the board. And what draws me to him is that he's got good speed at left outside linebacker. 84 is pretty good. And 75 tackling isn't bad for a rookie. And, you know, he has good finesse moves, 70, a decent block shed at 70. He's got a while to go there, but I do like that he can move around. I mean, that's the thing. I'm banking on his athleticism, but we'll see how he does in preseason. If he shows up, he has a good shot at making the roster. So we are going to hop into this preseason action with highlights from pretty much each game, maybe not every single one, but Steelers, Lions, Titans, and Rams. Let's just check it out, see who does well in the preseason, and see which rookies show up. So going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road, Alex Smith won't play much in this one, but he will play a couple of drives. So here he is on a 1st and 15 here under center, play action fake to Darius Guice, throwing over the middle, finding Vernon Davis there for the 14-yard gain. And on a 3rd and inches, here he is under center one more time, giving it to Guice, but can't get past that tough Steelers defense. And that's a nice tackle behind the line. So now later in the second quarter here, seeing a little bit of the new look defense here. And right away on a 3rd and 9, Derek Johnson getting in for the tackle. And that's exactly why we signed him. He's a sure tackler, and he can defend the pass pretty well. So now here on a 3rd and 5, here's Josh Dobbs now in the game, throwing the ball across the middle. That one's deflected. So now we have a 10-3 lead here in the 3rd quarter, and you can see some of our new guys here. That's Denzel getting the tackle on the outside that time and forcing a field goal. So now it's a 10-6 game. Now into the 4th quarter. This one was kind of a boring game as we do give up the completion on the outside. You see Mason Rudolph in the game for Pittsburgh as now they are past the 50-yard line, throwing to the outside, and you can see some of our young corners that time. Fabian Morrow, getting him some extended playing time. I want to get him some XP, and hopefully he can progress a little bit going into the regular season, because he probably will have a starting job. I don't know what side of the field he's going to be guarding or if he'll be in the slot, but I do want to see what he's got. So now here, 3rd and 13, a minute left in the 4th quarter, and giving up a almost couple yards there. So now on a 4th and 15, here's Mason Rudolph throwing to the outside, but that one is going to be tipped away by Fabian Morrow. Hopefully we see a lot of that going into the regular season, as Joshua Dobbs actually has an okay game, 16 for 31. That's about the game that I'm expecting from him. Didn't throw an interception in this game, but the most impressive thing, Mike Perkins, 138 yards on 7 receptions. He was getting open. He had the only touchdown of the game. So going into the 2nd week of preseason, he's the spotlight player. So Mike Perkins, I mean, he's a guy that I expected to probably make the squad, but to have that type of game in his first preseason action, it's impressive. So here is Alex Smith now playing versus Detroit. He's going to play a little bit longer in this game. Here he is finding Jordan Reed on the slant route, open on the left side, and he is going to pick up the 1st down. So now a couple of plays later on a 3rd and 4, throwing to the right side. That one is going to be tipped by the linebacker, and we're going to have to settle for the long field goal. And Dustin Hopkins is one of those guys, I might even want to replace him, because he doesn't really have the leg. And a lot of times when I was kicking field goals last season, he didn't exactly have the greatest leg beyond 50 yards. It was kind of hard to make it with him, and he's a guy maybe to watch out for. And if he does miss a few field goals, I might have to make a move in the regular season. He is our starter right now, but if I don't have a problem with him, I won't make a move. But it's just something to keep an eye on. So here is Alex Smith here in the 2nd quarter, throwing to the left side and completing this pass on the outside and getting inside the 10-yard line. So here is Geis getting a handoff on the 4th and inches and just trying to get some points on the board. I'm having to play a little longer in this game. This is kind of acting as the 3rd preseason game, but it's the 2nd one here, and Geis does get in for his 1st touchdown of preseason. And going into next game, like I said, I'm not going to play them as much. So here's Kennard Mayo, wherever you want to call him. He's getting in for his 1st action here in preseason, and he's a 7th round draft pick, and I do like what I see from him. But right away, there he is throwing an interception, and he's a guy that I want to get some experience with. I don't know what he's going to be, but I don't know if he's a quarterback of the future either, because we did trade for Dobbs, and Dobbs is a pretty good quarterback in my opinion, based on how much I can develop him and where he can go. So looking at this, the stats from this game, not much doing on the offensive side, but Matt Edwards had a pretty good game on defense. He had 6 tackles, so that's a pretty good sighting. So now we move on to the 3rd preseason game, which is supposed to be like the dress rehearsal. You can see Alex Smith already starting this game out in the red zone here, as we did force a turnover from Marcus Mariota on the 1st drive, but on a 4th and goal, tossing it out to Geis, and this is the reason why there's preseason, to work out these kinks. He trips over our own blocker, does not get in to the end zone. So now here on a 1st and 10, here's Alex Smith. You see the difference in protection. That was a nice pocket there for Alex Smith to throw the ball. Nobody to run or to throw the ball to, so we do run for the 15-yard gain. But on a 3rd and 6, trying to lob it to Jamison Crowder in the slot, and that one is not going to make it to him, and we do end up having to kick the field goal or punt the ball away on that drive. So now here's Tennessee now inside the red zone. Can we come up with the stop here? to start the second quarter here on a 3rd and 7, throwing the ball across the middle, but there is Zach Brown in midseason form coming up with the big hit that time on Delaney Walker and stopping the first down. So we do get them to settle for the field goal. So now a 6-3 game here, 3.5 minutes left in the first half, and here is Dion Lewis picking up a couple of yards. He had a solid season, and the Tennessee Titans actually had a disappointing last season. They didn't make the playoffs, so they're probably looking to make strides. They didn't make too many moves on offense, but you can see Mariota had problems turning the ball over last season, and he's doing the same here as he's already thrown an interception in his game. But you can see Green welcoming J.J. Marble into the NFL as he gets run over that time, but does get up and make the tackle before the first down. So now on a 2nd and 3, here is Mariota throwing to the outside, finding Rashard Matthews for the catch that time. So now they are close to about the 35-yard line, throwing to the outside, finding Green once again and getting tackled by a gang of Redskins defenders. So now here's Mariota throwing to Dion Lewis, and that time getting tackled that time by Fabian Morrow, and that's going to be another first down. So now 2nd and 10 here before half. Can we come up with a stop? But no, wide open is Green, and they are going to get in for the touchdown. And that may have been a little bit of a blown coverage, but what can you do? This is preseason. There's expected to be mistakes. Just getting used to the new squad, new defense, a lot of new pieces, and we have people playing out of position based on where they were last year. And here is Joshua Dobbs with a nice throw to the outside that time, finding Trey Quinn on the sideline. So now on a 3rd and 5, here is Dobbs rolling out to the right, trying to find his receiver once again, and cannot find him, as now we are faced with a 4th and 5, and we are going to roll out to the right a little bit, throw to the running back, but Joshua Dobbs got to work on that accuracy just a little bit. He's overthrowing his target on that, and he'll develop that as time goes on. So here's Ricardo Ripkowski, one of the undrafted free agents we have. I wanted to give him a little bit of action, but I wanted to focus this preseason on developing Josh Dobbs, but he does get in here, completing a nice 9-yard catch to Vernon Davis. So now on a 1st and 10 at the 13-yard line from the shotgun, where he played most of his college from at Montana. He overthrows his target, and that's an easy pick for LaShawn Sims on the defense, and that's going to be a turnover for him, and that ends that game. So now we are on to the last preseason game, and I just wanted to see what these backups had. I wanted to see if there were any guys that we were missing here, trying to evaluate some talent. I pretty much had a good idea of who's going to make the squad and who's not, or who's going to be on the practice squad. Hopefully nobody picks them up on their practice squad, but here you can see a nice throw by Dobbs that time over the top of the defense and finding the undrafted gem, as here he is on the outside getting open. And man, is this guy showing up or what? Reminding me of Wes Welker a little bit, even wearing the same number 83. And he's a guy to keep your eye on coming into this season, as he's gonna be there. He's gonna be on the field. I want to get him some touches because he's definitely shown that he can be a kind of a reliable target even as a rookie. So I like what I see from him, just getting him some playing time and getting him some exposure and some XP. As you can see, Vernon Davis coughs up the ball here in the final preseason game to end the game down by 5 points. So looking at the final stats of the preseason, you can see Joshua Dobbs, we actually gave him the most snaps, and mainly because I wanted to get him the most XP he can get. So he threw for 4 touchdowns, 700 yards almost, and Alex Smith didn't really play that much, but he did all right. Ripkowski, I wanted to get him some playing time, but it wasn't really a priority for me to really evaluate who's my number 3 is going to be, because I do have my 7th round draft pick. I think I'm going into the season with him. I'm not sure Nathan Peterman has a spot on this roster. I just don't think he fits with what I want to do. He's not really mobile. He doesn't really have the strongest and most accurate arm. He's just an all right quarterback. So rushing the ball, didn't really have too much competition there, so I'm not really worried. But receiving is where it gets interesting. So, you know, after Jamison Crowder in the slot, Mike Perkins pretty much locked down, I think, the 4th receiver spot. And I think it was a two-way battle between him and Trey Quinn. But I think that Mike Perkins took it over. I mean, he just catches everything. He led our team in touchdowns in the preseason, and he just had a good overall preseason, in my opinion. I think the offensive line definitely made big strides, pretty much not giving up any sacks, to be honest. They didn't give up too many. But on the defensive side, I definitely saw some things from some guys that I was hoping to see some things from, especially Derek Johnson. I was hoping that I would see just the impact he would have. I can see the difference between him and Zach Vigil. And Zach Vigil was pretty good, but Derek Johnson is just a step up a little bit, and it seems like he's going to fit in just nice. So Fabian Morrow on the outside, he did all right. I'll have to see him in the regular season to really know. But Matt Edwards actually had a pretty good preseason. He had 18 solo tackles, and that's pretty good. He didn't have any sacks, but I'm excited for him, and I'm excited to see what he does going forward. Connor Steffens was pretty good in coverage. I think he had 4 deflections. I believe that led our team. Yeah, it did. It led our team in the preseason in deflections. Zach Brown was in midseason form. So I'm excited for this secondary. I don't know what the depth chart is going to look like going into week 1, but we'll see next episode. So hit subscribe, hit that like button. One guy I did want to see a little bit more from was JJ Marble. He didn't really put up too many big numbers, so hopefully just going into the regular season, he does just that. So stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.